challenge my every decision. It is as if you seek to lead the Huns yourself.
It's time to review a classic campaign originally from the Conqueror's expansion, Attila the Hun. There are 6 scenarios in total, and we have just played through them all, so let's talk about it. So we're going to start off with what I really liked. What I liked the most was, especially early on, you get a lot of freedom to choose how you want to play the game. Particularly with the first scenario, which is the Scourge of God. That is the one where you have to choose to either betray Bleda or let the boar kill him. You got a few different ways to take him out. And I like that scenario because it does let you kind of write your own story about how Attila beats Bleda. I also like that this scenario gives you the option to choose which opponents you take out, because you have to choose 2 of 3 enemies. So that's the Persians, the Romans, and the Scythians. Now, what I like most about that is you can kind of choose different strategies depending on who you want to defeat. And generally, I usually take out the Romans first because they've got my villages. It's kind of a better way to go about the scenario. But it's just a different way to play the scenario, especially when you compare it to the Age of Kings. A lot of the newer campaigns have a lot more freedom as well. And this is kind of the start of that change. Attila the Hun was in the Conqueror's expansion, and that was where the campaign started to get a bit more exciting and have a bit more variety. Now, with that being said, this is actually the first time I've played all 6 of the different scenarios in that campaign set. So I actually got to experience a lot of new things for the first time. And there are other things that I really liked about this scenario, such as how the game chooses different challenges to keep the scenarios in the campaign fresh. For starters, in the early one, once again, you have to defeat the 3 enemies. In the second scenario, you got to defeat the Western Roman Empire by gathering your forces, by going through these different villages and, taking resources or rescuing captives. That's a really different way to play that game. And it keeps it fresh the whole time. Even the last scenario has the wonders you got to defeat. You got to defeat the cities before they build their wonders and get the wonder victory. Now, those varying challenges actually add to the campaign. It makes it more interesting. And I don't want to spoil every single, unique thing about this campaign, because after all, I did make a bunch of videos where I'm playing those. I'll link the playlist in the description below. Now, while we're on the topic of challenges, there is one more challenge that I think really elevated this campaign, and that was having to deal with the wonders. I did touch on this briefly before, but having the wonders in the game actually meant that I got to use the atheism tech, and it means something. The idea that the atheism tech actually comes into play in this campaign is really, really cool to me, and actually kind of important, because a lot of times you'll hear people talk about how the atheism tech isn't all that useful, it's not a great tech for competitive gameplay or whatever. But as far as the campaigns are concerned, if you look at only the campaigns, this atheism tech was instrumental in having this campaign play out the way it is. I don't think they could remove the atheism tech because it matters that much for the Civ's identity as far as the campaigns are concerned. And that's pretty much the things that I like the most about this campaign. I don't want to go super in detail. This is kind of like a short overview. But let's get to our final point. There wasn't a great deal that I didn't like about this campaign. This campaign is quite tight. The only thing that I would say I didn't like was that the Attila the Hun hero unit only shows up in 2 of the scenarios. Now, whether that's because of historical accuracy, I don't know. I didn't really look into that too much. But I like seeing hero units in the campaigns. It really adds something to it. And I think it's a crime that the hero units don't get seen as much. I really enjoy using hero units. They just add something to it. They add a bit of presence of this hero character that this story is about. It's really, really interesting. And I say character, but historical figure. It adds to this whole story. It makes it a lot more deep and a lot more interesting to me. So that's what I would like to see more going forward when they add more campaigns. I want to see hero units, even if they aren't all that instrumental to the story or they're just there briefly. It's nice to see hero units. They give something extra to the campaign. Alright, in front of us is the tier list. Now, this isn't normally how a tier list goes, not S through F tier, because I want to really show my appreciation and respect for the amount of time and effort that would have gone into creating these campaigns and creating these maps. And honestly, these developers did a fantastic job with this game. And I don't want to disparage that by saying that particular campaign is F tier, because someone worked on that, and I think all the campaigns should be played. That's the whole point behind this series. So we've got 2 campaigns that we need to chuck on this tier list. We have Alaric and we have Attila the Hun. I didn't do Alaric last time for 2 reasons. One reason was because the Alaric campaign review, I hadn't actually thought about doing a tier list with Alaric until towards the end of my recording session with that, and I was like, you know what, I'll chuck it at the end of the Attila the Hun campaign review, because I want to actually put these on a tier list. So we're going to start off with Alaric, and I would say Alaric it's somewhere between good and it's okay. So I think I'll put it into good for now, and I might move this around later on. But for me, it was a very middle of the road campaign, and it wasn't anything particularly memorable, but it wasn't anything bad either. It just wasn't my favorite campaign in this series that I'm doing so far. Next up, we have Attila the Hun. Now, the Attila the Hun campaign for me, just based on the fact that it was very, very fun. I cannot stress this enough. It was one of the most fun campaigns I've played in a long time, and I have actually played some of the campaigns, but this is just a fun one to do, and I would play it again because I like the fact that I can, redo the campaign and try different things, and I'll get there the exact same way. In fact, I can actually achieve the goals differently. That's what I like about this campaign, and I definitely think it's a top level campaign. I really hope you guys enjoyed this review and this style of video. It's very different to the Alaric review video because I wanted to try something different and really elevate this video. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button because I make videos every week and you definitely don't want to miss out. That's all from me, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.